A warm welcome back to the channel. I'm Ted. This is a place where we can sit down together, brew a pot of tea, and talk about the paths to peace for both body and spirit. Today, I'd like to share something with you that isn't new, but is often forgotten in our modern world. It's a concept from the ancient scriptures that I believe, once we truly understand it, can change the way we look at the aches and pains that silently linger in our bodies. Have you ever woken up in the morning, especially on a damp day, and felt like your body was weighed down by stones? Your knees are stiff, your fingers feel a bit swollen and hard to bend, and your back has a deep ache. It's a sluggish, sticky feeling, as if an invisible fog is enveloping every one of your joints. You try to stretch, to move around, but that heavy feeling just clings on, persisting through the day. People often say, that's just age, or it's the weather, and that's not wrong. But the ancient scriptures teach us that the weather outside is merely a trigger. The real root cause comes from the climate inside our own bodies. The ancient sages called this feeling of heaviness, swelling, and sluggishness dampness. Or you can picture it as a kind of internal humidity. So where does this wet fog come from? It doesn't come from the rain. It comes from the very things we put on our plates every day. More specifically, and this is what I'd like for us to contemplate together today, it comes from sugar and processed foods. I know hearing that might make some of you feel a little uncomfortable. Sugar is sweet, isn't it? It's the joy in birthday parties, the comfort in a donut with morning coffee, the sweetness in the iced tea we drink to cool down. I am not here to say that we must give up all of these joys, not at all. The path of healing is not a path of extreme hardship. It is a path of understanding. I'd like you to imagine this. Picture our digestive system, what the ancients called the spleen and stomach, as a fireplace. A healthy fireplace has a strong, burning fire that can efficiently burn everything we put into it, transforming it into energy, into chi and blood to nourish the body. Now, instead of putting in dry logs like natural vegetables and whole grains, we continuously throw damp logs onto the fire. That is sugar, candy, soft drinks, and heavily processed foods. What happens then? A damp log won't burn with a clean flame. It will smolder, and it creates a lot of smoke and a lot of soot. That smoke and soot, in the language of the ancients, is precisely damp chi or dampness. And this dampness has two very important properties. It is heavy and it is sticky. Because it's heavy, it has a tendency to sink down and settle in the lowest, least active places in our body. And where is that? It's our joints. The knees, the ankles, the joints in our fingers and toes. Because it's sticky, once it settles, it's very difficult to move. It clings there, obstructing the free flow of chi and blood. It's like a clear, flowing river that has suddenly become stagnant with thick mud. That stagnation is what causes the feeling of stiffness, swelling, and a dull, persistent ache. That feeling of heaviness in your legs each morning, that's dampness settling in. Your fingers are swollen, that's dampness causing a blockage, a persistent backache that won't go away. That is also a manifestation of dampness. I once had a student, a woman in her 60s, a retired teacher. She came to me and lamented, "Teacher, lately I haven't done any hard work, but my body is always aching. It feels as if someone has poured cement into my knees. It's so hard to stand up straight in the morning." I simply sat down and asked her about her typical day. She told me she had a habit of drinking a sweet milk tea every afternoon, and in the evening she'd often eat a few cookies while watching TV. It was her small joy. I didn't tell her she had to give it up immediately. I simply explained to her the story of the fireplace and the damp logs. I told her that this small joy could be unintentionally creating a swamp inside her joints. The perspective of modern science, though it uses different language, has confirmed this in a remarkable way. When we eat too much sugar, the body reacts by creating widespread inflammatory signals. Inflammation is science's way of describing the heat and blockage that damp chi causes. It's a state of constant alert, causing our immune system to overwork and eventually even attack the healthy tissues in the joints. So where is the way out? How do we dry out this internal swamp? The answer, thankfully, doesn't lie in expensive pills or complicated therapies. It lies in the gentle, gradual changes in our own kitchens. This path is not a revolution, but a transformation from within. Let's start with the smallest things. I'm not asking you to throw out all your sweets tomorrow. Just try one thing. For 1 week, just 1 week, try replacing one sugary soft drink or milk tea that you usually have with a cup of warm ginger tea. Ginger, according to traditional medicine, has a warming nature. It has the ability to evaporate, damp chi, and warm up our digestive fireplace. Notice the changes, no matter how small. Maybe you'll find that you wake up feeling a little lighter in the morning. Maybe you'll notice your fingers are a little less swollen. Reducing sugar isn't a punishment. It is an act of love, loving the temple of your body that has served you for so many years. It is the act of cleaning, drying out, and giving back to your joints the lightness and freedom that is their natural state. Listen to your body. It is always speaking to us. It's just that sometimes we are too busy to listen. Thank you for taking the time to listen to these shares. If today's story resonated with you in some way, please leave a comment below. I would truly love to hear your own story. Wishing you a peaceful day and a body that feels light. In our last talk, we spoke about the internal swamp, the dampness that is born from sugar and processed foods, causing our joints to feel heavy and sluggish. I've received so many wonderful shares from all of you about trying to replace a soft drink with a cup of ginger tea. That is a small but truly wonderful step on the journey of listening to your body. After we've become mindful of cleaning and drying out our temple from the inside today, I invite you to go one step further. We are going to take a closer look at the friends in our very own vegetable gardens. There are some friends who, despite looking vibrant and kind, and being praised by the whole world, may sometimes, unintentionally, not be the most compatible friends for our bodies at this stage of our lives. This is a tomato. Beautiful, isn't it? It's a symbol of summer, of vitality, of fresh salads and rich, savory sauces. Science tells us it is full of lycopene and antioxidants. The whole world agrees that this is a superfood. But I would like to ask you a question. What if one of the most praised foods in the world was actually the cause of the dull, lingering aches you've been enduring? The tomato is not alone. It belongs to a large and famous family in the plant world, which scientists call the Nightshades. In this family, besides the tomato, there are other distinguished members like bell peppers of all colors, eggplants with their luxurious, glossy purple skin, and even white potatoes. They are familiar faces in most cuisines all around the world. This family has a shared secret, a natural defense mechanism that creation has bestowed upon them. The ancient scriptures don't name it specifically, but today, science has given it a name: solanine. I'd like you to imagine solanine as an invisible thorn. It is the plant's weapon, a whisper of defense to protect itself from insects and animals that want to eat it. A very small, very subtle thorn. For a young, healthy body with a blazing fire of life, this little thorn causes almost no effect. The body easily neutralizes it. But for a body that has weathered many seasons, a body that already has existing wounds from inflammation, from the dampness we spoke of earlier, this invisible thorn can become quite a nuisance. It's like having a scratch on your skin. If a friend accidentally brushes against it, you might not feel anything. But if they were to continuously poke their fingertip gently right on that same scratch day after day, the wound would never be able to heal. It would remain swollen red and would have a dull, constant ache. This solanine thorn works in the same way. It continuously pokes at the pre-existing inflammation in our joints, causing the pain to linger endlessly, causing the joints to feel inexplicably stiff in the morning. I'm always reminded of the story of Mr. Robert. He was a retired carpenter, a sturdy American man with calloused but very skillful hands. His greatest joy was the small garden in his backyard, where he personally grew trellises of juicy tomatoes and colorful bell peppers. He was so proud of his garden. But there was one thing that troubled him. The joints in his fingers were becoming more and more swollen and painful, especially in the morning. They were so stiff he could hardly grip his hammer. He told me, "Teacher Ted, I don't understand. I eat so healthy. Every day I have a big salad with tomatoes and bell peppers from my own garden. I thought I was doing the best thing for my health, and yet my hands just keep getting more painful." I looked at his hands, the same hands that had created so many beautiful things, and I saw the confusion in his eyes. I didn't say that tomatoes were bad. I simply invited him to join me in an experiment in listening. I said, "Mr. Robert, do you trust your garden?" He nodded. "Do you trust your body?" He hesitated, then nodded again. "Well then," I asked, "why don't we let your body and your garden have a frank conversation with each other?" I suggested that for just 3 weeks, he temporarily part ways with his friends in the Nightshade family. No tomatoes, no bell peppers, no eggplants, no potatoes. This isn't a punishment. It is a moment of silence. A chance for us to listen to what the body has to say when those friends aren't in the room. The first week, Mr. Robert didn't notice any difference. He even told me he really missed his salad. But in the second week, he called me and said, "Teacher Ted, something strange is happening. This morning I woke up and I could make a fist. It still hurts a little, but it's not hard as a rock anymore." By the end of the third week, he came to see me with a radiant smile. The swelling in his fingers had gone down significantly. He said, "I can't believe it. The friends I loved most in my garden were the very ones causing me pain." Robert's story is a profound lesson. It doesn't mean that tomatoes or bell peppers are the enemy. It means that Robert's body at that point in time was not in harmony with their invisible thorn. The path of health, ladies and gentlemen, is not the path of finding good foods and bad foods. It is the path of finding harmony. Nothing is absolutely good or bad. There is only what is compatible or incompatible with the temple of your own body at this very moment in your life. So if you are also experiencing some unexplainable aches and pains, try becoming the scientist of your own body. Try giving your body a quiet interval of 3 weeks without the presence of the Nightshade family. Journal how you feel each morning. Listen to the smallest signals. After 3 weeks, reintroduce a little bit of tomato and see how your body reacts over the next 24 to 48 hours. Does the pain return? Does the stiffness reappear? The truest answer doesn't lie in books or in my words, but in your own experience. Approach food with curiosity and compassion, not with fear. If your body isn't compatible with tomatoes, nature still provides us with countless other red options, from beets and carrots to pomegranates. The creativity in our kitchens is endless. And remember, the greatest health master you will ever have is your own body. Learn to listen. Thank you for listening so patiently. It is my hope that these shares will be a gentle suggestion for you to begin a deeper dialogue with yourself. I wish you peace in both body and mind. Greetings. In our previous talks, we walked through 2 gardens together. The first was the internal garden, with the damp swamps created by sugar. The second was the vegetable garden with our nightshade friends who, though kind, carry invisible thorns. I have been so moved reading the shares from all of you about your own journeys of self-contemplation and listening to your bodies. That right there, that is wisdom. Today, I invite you to explore a principle that is even more fundamental. A principle that speaks not just of the type of food, but of its nature, its energy. This is one of the pillars of ancient medicine, a secret that, when understood, can help us protect our precious life force energy, especially as we pass the halfway point of our lives. Let's talk together about the obstacle of cold foods. Allow me to use an image for this. Let's imagine our body is a house, and our digestive system, our stomach, is the fireplace at the center of that house. The fire in this fireplace, what the ancients called fire chi, or the fire at the gate of life, has an incredibly important job. It not only cooks the food we take in, transforming it into chi, blood, and energy, but it also radiates warmth to every room, keeping the whole house warm, dry, and full of vitality. Now the question arises, what happens when we continuously pour cold water into a fireplace that is trying to keep the whole house warm? The answer is very simple. The fire will weaken. The house will become cold and damp. And this is precisely what so many of us, with the best of intentions, are unintentionally doing to our bodies every single day. When I speak of cold foods, please don't just think about the temperature in the refrigerator. Cold, in the wisdom of the ancients, refers to the intrinsic energy of the food itself, regardless of whether it is at room temperature or has been cooked. For example, ice water and ice cream are obviously cold. But cucumbers, watermelons, raw salads, raw spinach, and even tropical fruits like bananas and oranges, they themselves carry a cold energy. Their purpose is to clear heat and to cool the body. That is wonderful for a young person or in the middle of a blazing hot summer day. But as we get older, the fire in our fireplace is no longer the blazing inferno it was in our 20s. It's more like a precious bed of embers, glowing steadily and constantly. Our job is not to challenge that fire, but to protect and nurture it. Eating too many raw, cold foods, especially in the morning, is like taking ladle after ladle of cold water and throwing it directly onto those precious embers. I have a friend in California. His name is John. He's nearly 70 years old, a very health-conscious person. He reads a lot of books and believes that a diet high in raw foods is the best. Every morning, he starts his day with a very large smoothie. In it, he puts raw spinach, a banana, a few ice cubes, and almond milk from the fridge. He thinks he is loading his body with a nutritional bomb. And yet he came to me with the same troubles. He said, "Teacher Ted, I'm so cold. I live in sunny California, but my hands and feet are always like ice. After I drink my health smoothie, my stomach often feels bloated and sluggish all morning. And my joints, they ache in a very strange way, a sharp, chilling pain from deep inside." I invited John to sit down and I brewed him a cup of hot ginger tea. I said to him, "John, your intentions are wonderful. You are trying to put the very best things into your temple, but perhaps you are bringing them in the wrong way. You are extinguishing your own fire at the very time of day it needs to be warmest, in the morning." In the ancient scriptures, chi and blood are likened to a river of life, flowing through the body to warm and to nourish. Cold energy has a characteristic of causing contraction and stagnation. Just think, when it's cold outside, our bodies automatically contract. Our blood vessels do the same. When we put a large amount of cold food into our bodies, it causes the river of chi and blood inside to slow down, even to stagnate in some places. And where is the current weakest, furthest from the central fireplace? Once again, it is our joints. When the nourishing river can't reach them, the joints become cold. They are like a bend in the river that has frozen over in winter, stiff, sharp, and aching. Pain from cold is different from pain from inflammation. Pain from inflammation feels hot, swollen, and red. But pain from cold is a sharp, contracting pain, a chilling feeling from deep within the bones. So what is the solution here? Do we have to stop eating vegetables and fruits? Not at all. The solution of the ancients is always very gentle and follows nature. It is to change the method of preparation. Instead of a cold salad, try quickly pan-searing or lightly steaming your vegetables. The heat will help neutralize the cold nature of the vegetables, making them easier to digest while still retaining most of their nutrients. Instead of an icy smoothie, try making a warm vegetable soup or a stew with some vegetables and a little meat. And try to adopt a small habit. Drink water at room temperature or warm, especially in the morning. Think of that first glass of warm water as the act of stoking the embers in your fireplace. Try adding warming spices to your food, like a slice of ginger, a pinch of cinnamon, a few cloves of garlic, a little black pepper. They not only make the food more delicious, but they are also powerful helpers for our digestive fire. Warming the stomach is also warming the joints. Nurturing the inner fire is also relighting the flexibility and joy in every movement. These are not rigid rules, ladies and gentlemen. This is an invitation for you to feel and to treat your body with warmth, both literally and figuratively. Let every meal be an opportunity to nourish, not to extinguish the precious fire of your life. Thank you for listening. May the fireplace within each of us always burn brightly and warmly. Greetings. In our last talk, we ended with an invitation to treat our bodies with warmth. I feel the resonance from all of you through that invitation, and that in turn warms my own heart. We have spoken a great deal about what we should and shouldn't put into our fireplace so that it can burn brightly and steadily. We've talked about types of food, about their warming and cooling natures, about friends to embrace and friends to keep a slight distance from. But today, I would like to invite you to contemplate an even more subtle aspect, a secret often forgotten in the rush of modern life. It's not about what, but about how we bring the food in. I want to talk about two pillars of mindful eating, two simple miracles that don't cost a single penny, yet have the power to change our entire process of digestion and absorption. They are the miracle of mindful chewing and the harmony of eating with the seasons. Let's begin with the thing that is closest to us, the act of chewing. I know how hectic modern life is. We eat while driving. We eat in front of the TV, our minds lost in a movie. We eat while scrolling on our phones, reading the news. A meal is sometimes just a task to be completed quickly. We put food in our mouths, chew a few times without thinking, and swallow in a hurry. We have forgotten that chewing is not just a mechanical act to make food smaller. Chewing, in the wisdom of the ancients, is the very first doorway of gratitude and digestion. When we chew slowly and consciously, two magical things happen. The first is on the physical level. Our saliva is not just water. It contains the first digestive enzymes. When we chew thoroughly, the food is crushed and saturated with these enzymes. This action is like pre-cooking the food right in your mouth before it is sent down to the stomach. When the food has been perfectly pre-processed, our stomach fireplace doesn't have to overwork. It will burn the fuel more efficiently, absorb more of its essence, and create less waste or pathogenic qi. Most issues of gas, bloating, and indigestion can be significantly improved by this simple act alone. I have a friend named David, a very busy architect. He eats a very scientific diet, all organic food, but he always suffered from bloating after every meal. He had tried everything. When he came to see me, I didn't advise him to change a single thing he was eating. I only gave him one piece of advice. For 1 week, during every meal, after every single bite you take, I want you to try putting your fork down on the table. And chew that bite until you no longer recognize its shape, until it becomes liquid in your mouth before you swallow. He tried it, and after 1 week he came back and told me, "It's unbelievable, teacher. My bloating has vanished, and stranger still, I feel full and satisfied with much less food than before." That is the second miracle of mindful chewing on the spiritual level. When we chew slowly, we are forced to be present. We are practicing a form of meditation. We can taste the real flavor of a carrot, the sweetness of a grain of rice, the richness of a bean. We connect with our food. That act of being present in the moment calms our stressed nervous system, sending a signal of safety to our stomach, giving it the command, "It's okay, you can relax and do your job now." And the second pillar, after learning to respect the food in our mouths, is learning to respect its source. That is, eating with the seasons. Mother Nature is a great and incredibly wise mother. She always knows what we need and when we need it. In the hot summer, she gives us watermelon, cucumber, and watery berries full of cool energy to help us cool down. In the cold winter, she gives us pumpkins, sweet potatoes, and dense root vegetables, full of warm and concentrated energy for us to store and to warm our bodies. The modern world, with its supermarkets and global shipping, has allowed us to have anything at any time. We can eat watermelon in the middle of winter and eat pumpkin in the middle of summer. That may seem convenient, but it is going against the current of nature. Eating a watery, cold watermelon on a freezing winter day is like wearing thin clothes in a snowstorm. Our body, which needs to be storing warmth, now has to work hard to fire up its fireplace, just to handle a food that is out of season and contrary to its real needs. This wastes our energy needlessly. Harmonizing with the seasons is not a limitation. It is the act of living in tune with the symphony of the universe. When we eat what the land where we live is offering in that season, we not only receive the highest level of nutrients, but we also receive the exact type of energy our bodies need most. So you see, ladies and gentlemen, these two secrets are actually just one: respect. Mindful chewing is respecting the food before you and respecting your own body. Eating with the seasons is respecting Mother Nature and respecting the great wisdom of the earth. These are not rules meant to bind you. This is another invitation. In your next meal, just try one thing. Chew the first bite very slowly, counting to 20 or 30 in your head. Try to taste its flavor completely. And when you go to the market this weekend, pause for a moment at the vegetable stand and ask yourself, what is Mother Nature offering us this season in this place? When we eat with mindfulness, each meal is no longer a task, but becomes a ritual of nourishment and connection. Connection with the body, connection with the food, and connection with the rhythm of life. May every bite you take be filled with gratitude and mindfulness. Greetings, dear companions on this path. So here we are at the final chapter of this series of sharings. It has been a beautiful journey, hasn't it? Together, we have walked the path from identifying and clearing the internal swamp to warming the fireplace of our life force, inviting the emissaries of peace to our meals, and practicing the sacred ritual of chewing mindfully and living in harmony with the earth and sky. Every step has been a step closer to understanding and loving the temple of our own bodies. Today, in this final sharing, I want to talk about a very interesting topic. We are going to talk about the kings and queens of the green vegetable world. Broccoli, cabbage, kale. They are the stars, the heroes praised everywhere for their wonderful health benefits. And that is absolutely true. They contain nutrients and anti-cancer compounds that modern science is still endlessly discovering. But is it possible that even these kings and queens of the green vegetable world, when approached in the wrong way, can also create a burden for our bodies, especially a body that has weathered many rainy and sunny seasons? The answer is possibly. And the wrong way I am referring to here is precisely the act of eating them while they are raw. The cruciferous family, which includes broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, kale, and Brussels sprouts, when in their raw form, presents two small challenges for an older body. The first challenge relates to a very important part of our body, the thyroid gland. Our thyroid is like the body's energy regulation factory. It decides whether we feel full of vitality or tired and sluggish. Raw cruciferous vegetables contain a natural compound called a goitrogen. This substance, when eaten in large quantities, can interfere with the thyroid's ability to absorb iodine, an essential mineral for it to function normally. For a young person, this might be insignificant. But for a body whose energy factory has already begun to slow down, this can contribute to feelings of fatigue, coldness, and a slow metabolism. The second challenge comes from the digestive system. These vegetables contain a type of fiber that is very tough, very sturdy. I'd like you to picture it as a rope. A healthy digestive system in its 20s can chew through this rope. But our fireplace, which has been burning steadily for 60 or 70 years, is not as powerful as it once was. Putting this tough rope into it can create a burden, producing gas, bloating, and a feeling of discomfort. We eat a nutritious food, but our body has to struggle to process it. Hearing this, should we be afraid and eliminate these wonderful vegetables? Amitabha, absolutely not. The wisdom of the ancients never teaches us to fear food. Wisdom only shows us the way to transform, and the transformation here is surprisingly simple. The solution to both of these challenges lies in a single word: heat. Heat, even just from a light steam or a quick pan sear, is the great alchemist. The warmth does two magical things. First, it almost completely neutralizes the goitrogens, returning peace to our thyroid gland. Second, it softens that tough rope of fiber, unraveling it into soft silk threads so that our digestive system can easily process it and fully absorb the essence within. And so, instead of avoiding them, let us learn to embrace them more wisely. Let's shift our focus from eating raw vegetables to celebrating the beauty of cooked leafy greens. When gently cooked, kale, spinach, collard greens, they become gentle and generous friends. They offer us vitamin K, which acts like a special glue, helping to bind calcium to our bone structure, keeping our bones strong into old age. Magnesium and calcium, which are the bricks and mortar to build and repair the temple of our bones and joints every day. And chlorophyll, which can be thought of as crystallized sunlight, bringing the energy of life into every cell. Try steaming them for just a few minutes until their green color becomes vibrant, then drizzle them with a little olive oil. Try quickly sautéing them with a few slices of garlic until they're fragrant, or simply add them to your soups and stews at the very end. So simple, yet it makes a world of difference. Ladies and gentlemen, and so we have come to the end of this journey of sharing. We have talked about many things, but if there is a single message that I hope you can carry with you, it is not a list of shoulds and should-nots. The core message lies in three words: wisdom, harmony, and mindfulness. Wisdom, that is the wisdom to understand that this body is unique, that it changes over time, and that there is no single rule that is right for everyone. Harmony is choosing what is in tune with nature and in tune with our bodies, eating warm foods, balancing our nutrients, and living with the rhythm of the seasons. Mindfulness is being awake in every action, from chewing a bite of food to listening to the smallest signals our body sends us each day. Finally, please remember that the greatest physician, the wisest master, is not far away. That teacher is right inside of you. Your body is the most profound and honest scripture. Learn to read it, listen to it, and trust it. The journey of caring for our health is not a battle against illness and old age. It is a spiritual path of love, a journey so that with each passing day, we find ourselves living a life that is lighter, clearer, and more peaceful. My sincere thanks for your companionship and for listening throughout this time. May you always find peace in your soul and vitality in every step. Once more, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for the energy and mindful attention you have given to these sharings. It is your very presence that has created this shared space, a community of listening and healing. If you happen to have found this video by chance, this is the final part of our series on the path to finding peace for our joints. I have arranged all the parts into a playlist called The Joint Healing Journey. If you have the time, please consider watching from the beginning to get the complete picture. You can find that playlist on the screen now. I have always believed that wisdom does not just come from one direction. It is nurtured by sharing. Therefore, please use the comment section below as an online temple courtyard, a place for us to tell each other our own stories, our experiences, our difficulties, and even our small successes. Every share from you is a torch that lights the way for other fellow travelers. And if you feel you would like to continue walking this path with me, please press the subscribe button and the little bell next to it, so that we don't lose each other on the journey ahead. Once more, I wish you a truly peaceful day and a light step. I will see you in our future talks.